Hello, and welcome to What's Your Story? I bet you're sitting there wondering, what on earth is Judy Morio doing with a Western hat on today because the rodeo's not in town? Well, I have this hat on because our guest today made this hat for me. She painted all these beautiful designs on it, and she has some other hats to show you. She's a fabulous artist, and her name is Wendy. Now I've got to say it right. Your maiden name.
Palafox.
Palafox. Is that correct?
Palafox.
Wendy Palafox Pena. Sorry that I screwed up.
It's
but
okay.
She forgave me, and we know each other, so she understands. So please forgive me. But please take a look at my beautiful guest, and I want you to understand that she's got some fabulous products here for you to see. And this is one of them. This is her design. This is her hat. And I'm going to take it off because I just want to show you that even on the back, she's done design. And you have your initials in there, right?
Yes.
Too. Yeah. So tell us about how you got into painting hats and making such wonderful things for people.
Okay, I started painting quite a few years ago, and a couple of years ago I started experimenting with textiles and oil pastels, pencils. I moved further from oil paintings. I'm having a lot of fun. I'm creating hats. I'm also painting on shirts, shoes. It's just fun to just whatever comes to mind, just create it and see what happens.
I know when I first met you, you said, I'll paint on anything. If it comes past me and it looks interesting, I'll paint on it.
Yes.
And I thought that was great because you really are a fantastic artist.
Thank you.
And we have some of your paintings to show our audience. And but let's show them some more of your hats. As long as we're talking about the hats, let's look at it.
So
Ooh, look at this one.
Quite colorful.
That's beautiful.
This shows some of my Mexican heritage, the colorful designs. I do custom work. Again, my signature on the back.
Yes, of course, of course.
This other one was also painted, but also I did some hand embroidery on it.
Wow, look at that. Can I put that on? I want to see what that looks like.
Give it that extra bling.
Look at this one. Wow. Look at all the bling on this one, John. This is fabulous. I love this.
Thank you.
These are all great. They're just absolutely wonderful. So I saw these at a show out at Lake Las Vegas recently. You were showing your work out there. Wendy, how did you get into painting?
You know, I have been playing with pencils since I have memory. I was always a very sick child, so I was always cooped up in a bedroom, and I always remember myself just drawing and coloring and keeping busy by myself in a room. And as I got older, I just continued with it. And you know, for a while, it wasn't very rewarding. I was only recreating pieces I was finding. So I stopped painting for a little while, for about 5 years. And then when the COVID lockdown started, you know, that kind of changed perspective for many of us.
Oh, yes, for many people.
It did. Seeing all those numbers in the news of people passing, it kind of gave me an existential crisis. And I thought, you know, what am I leaving behind? What is my
your legacy, huh?
My legacy, yes. So I'm doing my best raising my children to be good people, but what am I doing for myself? So I went back to art, this time with purpose. You know, I'm painting pieces that not only work as decor, but also fill people's hearts.
Oh, yes.
I recently delivered a painting of a beloved dad who passed away a year ago. And I'm getting choked up remembering, thinking about his daughter's reaction when she picked it up. Just to see that, to be able to create that in people.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
That my idea of that painting came together with the photo she gave me, and to bring up all those feelings in her.
Oh, yes.
That's just it.
And
I've
seen your paintings, and your paintings are so realistic. They're so good, you know, that I'm sure that when she looked at it, it looked just like her father. Is that right?
Yes. I still have a lot to learn. I have to continue practicing, but I'm quite happy with the fact that she was happy with it. That's the most important part.
What motivates you to keep painting?
That feeling of creating something for somebody. You know, when I deliver a painting, when I unveil it in front of the person who ordered it, my client, just being able to create those feelings and inspire them to.
I think we have one of your uncle that we're going to put up. Wasn't that your uncle that had the rooster?
That is that dad who passed away. That's my friend's dad.
Oh, that's your friend's dad.
Yes.
That's the one.
Yes.
That's an amazing painting.
Yes,
Yeah,
thank you.
That's amazing.
He used to love roosters, so she said, "Hey, can you put a rooster there?" And thanks to your classes and the skills you have been teaching me in acrylic, I was able to translate that into oils and complete that rooster on that piece for her.
Well, that was just amazing. That
Thank
was
you.
really beautiful. But then so are a couple other pieces I've seen that you did. Did you send those over? Because we have them, I think, to
Yes.
put up at the rooster that you did. It's
Yes.
just the rooster by itself.
Yes.
Oh, I love that
Thank you.
rooster. We watched you paint that. Every time you put a new feather on, we were like, whoa. Right.
Thank you, and thank you for your guidance. It was a challenge I wanted to overcome. Painting feathers. You know, we all have little things we want to learn and get better at, and that was one of those things. And I thank you for that. And I got it done.
I'm
yes.
not good at feathers myself. I mean, I just recently did a parrot, and the feathers weren't what I thought they should be. But you know, we just get better by practice.
Yes, but we're critical of ourselves because I see that one and I think it's awesome.
Thank you. Thank you. Also, so tell me about your favorite medium, because you do everything. You do oil pastels, you do acrylic, you do watercolor, you do everything. So
Yes.
what's your favorite?
So it used to be oil painting that was my favorite, but now that I'm transitioning and opening my eyes to everything that's out there, I think I'm okay with not being one of those artists who have just one niche. And that's okay. People are great sometimes
Yes.
at one medium, but I'm loving that I can explore and I don't have to think about the medium first. I think about the product I want to achieve and I want to finish, and then I think about, okay, what's going to get me there out of all this?
Yeah.
So the way I have my art studio set up at home is I have my easels for my acrylic and my oils, and I turn around and I have my drafting desk where I do my textile paintings or my pencil pastel pet portraits. So I'm not sure that I have a favorite medium at this point. Also, I went back and I rediscovered acrylics with you, which I love. You're amazing at that.
Thank you.
I love your watercolors as well. Maybe one day I'll venture into that. I don't know. I don't think that I can get better at it than you. You're
Well,
just amazing.
Thank you. But you know, I only just learned to paint about 12 years ago because I was ill. And isn't it interesting how so many of us get started in this because we're ill? It's something
Yes.
that can keep us occupied. But now that I've become an art therapist as well, I understand the value of art in health and how it
Yes.
helps people be healthier to do these things.
Yes.
Show us your shirt. You brought along
yes.
one of the shirts that you do.
Yes, I completed this one recently. This is a Father's Day gift for my husband.
Oh.
He hasn't seen it, so this will be a
Oh.
surprise for him
So
to
when
see
he
it.
sees it on TV, he'll know this is coming.
Yeah, so this is very Mexican. This is a jaguar Aztec
What is it?
warrior.
Oh, I love it. I love it. And it's got the skull in the mouth. That's
Yes.
interesting.
Yeah, so it's fun being able to create on fabric, on different textiles, on canvas, on shoes, pillows, pretty
That's
much
absolutely
anything.
beautiful.
Thank you.
That's really beautiful. I would think
thank you.
that most men would love to have something like that.
Very manly,
Yeah.
like a warrior.
And your husband is very manly. That'll
Yes.
That'll be great. That'll be absolutely wonderful for him.
Thank you,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah, I should have thought of that. I didn't paint anything exciting for my boyfriend for Father's Day.
Oh,
Maybe I better go home and do it quick, huh?
I'm sure you'll have plenty of ideas.
So, who were your biggest artistic influencers?
I, of course, admire the old masters, you know, Caravaggio, Vermeer, Da Vinci, of course, the chiaroscuro technique. I love how they use those deep shadows to bring up the light on subjects. I think that's important, having that foundation from the old masters. But I also admire a lot of living artists. You know, you, of course.
Oh, thank
You're
you.
great at your watercolor. Like I said, it's just amazing. your acrylics, your elephant. I love it.
My elephant.
That tile is sitting in my home. I admire that. I also have quite a few artists that I follow. Carla Grace, that Australian wildlife artist. You have Iris Scott. She's the oil finger painter.
Right.
She's the one who inspired me to do my koi painting fish. With her permission, I have it and I can show it, as well as that piñata that I did with just my fingers. That was fun. That was fun creating. There's also a Utah-based painter. His name is Jeremy Winberg.
Oh, yes, yes.
Yes, he creates those beautiful Native American portraits with abstract backgrounds. Who would have thought? Combining the two worlds.
Yes.
And he does it just so beautifully. So I think it's important to learn from, follow, and support living artists as well.
Yes, yes. Yes,
There's so much
there's a
talent.
website, Patreon, that's got a lot of artists on there. I sponsor a couple of the artists that are on there because I like to follow them, and I like to attend the classes that they teach and things. So I
Yes.
make a little donation every month, you know, to
Yes.
help support them because, you know, even today I don't feel that artists fully get the opportunity to really move ahead and make a really good living with art. You know, it's hard. It's really hard. And so what are your intentions? What are your future plans for all of this?
I would love to have my art sitting in homes around the world. Museums will be great, but I think I have to wait for that until after I pass. But just having my portraits done for people around the world, for people to enjoy and have them in their home where it's close to heart, not just hanging anywhere, but where the family is, where they can see their loved ones who maybe passed away, or maybe just as an honor, just honoring somebody in their lives.
Yes.
So that will be an honor,
Yes.
being in people's homes.
How many hours a week do you do this?
You know, I only get to paint because I'm a full-time mom, so I only get to paint about every other day. And I do make an effort to sit down and paint for at least a couple hours every other day. If the universe aligns and everything and I get to paint a few days in a row, that's beautiful, but at least every other day. That's my goal.
Yeah, I know your son paints with you sometimes.
He does. I'm hoping he will continue with that, and I just let him explore. I give him a canvas or some.
How old is he?
He's 7.
7. That's a good time to start.
Yes, and my daughter has a talent as well. She's a little, she doesn't want to explore it yet, but maybe one day she will get into that. But
she's a little bit older, isn't she?
she's 13.
Yeah. Oh, well, 13. I mean, why would you want to paint when you're 13? You'd want to chase boys, wouldn't
And
you?
with your mom. That sounds not very fun for a teenager, but I'm having fun. Whenever they feel like it, I just set up a little space for them next to me, and we paint side by side, and they see me doing that, and I hope I inspire them.
I hope
to
you
do
do
what they
too.
love.
Because, you know, I grew up with a mother and sisters that all painted, and I never did it. My mother would say, you know, get a pencil or get some paper or draw, and I'd say, but I might make a mistake, and she'd say, well, then erase it and start over. That's all you have to do. But I think I just didn't have the confidence because my sisters were all so good. And so I just never did it. I wanted to be a writer. But then when I got into it as a result of my doctor telling me to take art lessons, I discovered it's really amazing. It's like a meditation.
It is.
When you're sitting there and you're painting and maybe listening to a little music and doing it, you get into your own world. Do you do that? Do you get into a zone?
Yes, I get lost. Hours will go by, and it's not until I start getting a headache that I remember I didn't eat or I didn't drink water. And it's just amazing how you just go into that zone. And also what happens, and I'm sure this happens to many artists, that whenever I'm speaking to someone or I'm looking at an object, I not only see their faces or that item in front of me, but I see shadows, I see values, I see shapes. And so I'm looking at you, I'm looking at somebody, and I'm practicing art in my head. I dream of painting. And I'm so immersed into art these days that I think my brain automatically goes into that mode where it's like, okay, what shape is it? What color is this? What value do we assign to this area? It's
amazing.
I like it.
It's amazing. And you did this wonderful gorilla.
Oh, yes.
That's a baby gorilla.
Thank you, yes.
I love this gorilla.
Thank you. That's a fun one to paint. I hope I get to do quite a few more wildlife pieces with you and share that. And
Well, that one
continue
I was just
learning.
amazed because you put so much in his eyes that when you look at that gorilla, you just feel like he's up to something.
Yes, I like that. He looks like he's thinking. He's about to make a decision, make a move somewhere, wherever he lives. And it's fun how art gets you to think about the subject there. And you come up with your own stories, your own ideas about what's going on in that frame.
Yes. I think that helps.
Yeah.
That helps you to create the personality of,
Yes.
of the person or the animal. Yeah.
Yes.
When I paint animals, I try to do their eyes very early on. For some reason, once I get their eyes in, I feel like I'm in their soul.
Yes.
There's some connection with that animal once you get those eyes painted. Do you feel that too?
I agree. I like doing the sketch, of course, the background, the initial layers, but the eyes are typically where I focus at the beginning.
Yeah, and they're hard. You know, I had no idea that eyes could take so much time. And when I went to one particular class, we spent over 3 hours just on the eyes of
Just
this
on the
one
eyes.
animal. Over 3 hours, and I mean, every little color that we put in those eyes. When you first start painting, you don't think that you have to put 7 or 8 colors into eyes. You just think, oh, they're brown eyes. There's the brown, but it doesn't work that way. You got to. I mean, to
Exactly.
make them real, you've really got to think about it and,
Yes.
and combine colors and things.
Create that depth, that give them a soul.
Yes. Yeah. It's fascinating. It really is fascinating. Well, I've loved watching you paint and develop
Thank
and
you.
see. And you know, I teach a lot of students, but it's interesting because of what you said about shapes a minute ago, that you see shapes. Because so many people will come to me and they'll say, I'd love to take art classes, but I can only draw stick figures. And I say, oh, then I don't want you because I don't want anybody that draws stick figures. You know, I only want people who don't draw stick figures. And they're like, well, I don't draw stick figures. And I'm like, well, good, you can be in my class then. But I find that first off, people are nervous to begin because they might do something wrong, which it doesn't matter. It's only a piece of paper or a
Yes.
canvas, right? But the other thing is the majority of people have trouble seeing shapes. And interesting that you said, I automatically see the shapes. And I have to really do a whole class sometimes just on see this shape, look here, look into this shadow, look into this light, look into the different colors and see the shapes there. And that's one of the things I've appreciated about having you in class is because you always, you know the shapes, you see the shapes, it's in your head. Now, what do you think makes your head see all those things that it takes other people forever? Is it your knowledge? Is it your practice? Is it that you've done this all your life? I mean, what is it?
I think it's practice. It's practice. People keep saying, oh, you're so talented, but with practice, you can develop any skill. That's my belief. I think whenever you want to get better at anything, it's just practice, practice, practice. And even when I'm not painting, I look at an object and I try to think, well, how would I paint it? What hue is this? What color do I combine to get to that color? And it's just practice. Practice. That's what I tell my friends. I have friends who are starting in the art world, and I tell them, don't be discouraged. Continue practicing. Keep on practice. Keep on creating. That's what I always say. Keep
I
on
don't
creating.
think a lot of people realize that most paintings go through an ugly phase.
yes, for sure. And I have to remind myself of that because we all go through it. I have so much to learn and so much to practice, but we all go through that where you think about, oh my goodness, what am I doing? Will I ever achieve what I think, what's in my head?
Yes.
And it's just getting through the ugly stage and trusting the system and trusting the process.
Yes.
And getting there.
Because I can't tell you how many paintings I've done that, you know, along the way, they've just been disgusting. And you're like, ugh, you know, I can't believe I've made such a mess. But if you just keep on, you keep working, and that's what I love about acrylic. Because with acrylic, when it's dry, you can just paint over it, you know.
Yes.
And sometimes I'll just gesso over the whole thing and start over, you know, because I'll do something and it'll just be so dreadfully awful that I think, well, just paint it with white gesso and let it dry and do it again. And I think if people would realize that that's all there is to it, you don't have to do it perfectly.
Yes.
The main thing I think is with art is, do you enjoy it? See, I think with
Yes.
you enjoy it. I see you paint on those tennis shoes. You paint, yeah, I mean, it's amazing. I think, do you really enjoy every single minute of it?
I do. I get lost in my little corner, and I have to be conscious of that because I have children. You know, I always try to find a balance because I just enjoy it so much. So what I do is I try to bring them into my space so that I can share that with them.
Yes.
But that's the reason why I paint every other day, because I just enjoy it so much. I can sit there and I can paint for hours.
Well, you're so creative in so many ways. I wish we had a picture of your art studio, because another art student of mine and I were talking that she had seen your picture of your art studio on Facebook.
Oh,
and she
okay.
said to me, "Did you know how she hangs up her paint?" And I said, "Yes, she showed me, you know, that you made this cabinet with clips and you hang all your
Yes.
paint tubes, and you're the most organized artist I've ever seen."
But thank you. But I have to credit Carla Grace for that. I did take that from her. I love how she organized, and I like keeping things organized. I enjoy that part, just knowing where everything is. But yes, that's a pretty cool
That was the
cabinet
most,
to have.
yes.
Just everything is nice and organized.
It was amazing.
Thank
I
you.
don't even know if I could explain it to you what she does. I mean, she got these clips and she put them on the end of her paint tubes and she hung them up on little hooks in this cabinet, and you can just see every color is right there. It's amazing.
So it's a pegboard with a wooden frame, and I use pegboards to hang my paint tubes that are attached to paper clips. And it works perfectly because I have my colors organized by hues, and I see every single one of them, and that way I don't go and buy extra of what I
Yeah.
already have, and I can see what I'm running out of, and I can see everything right in front of me when I'm looking for a color.
I have never known an organized artist before. You're just amazing. No wonder you're so good at everything you
Oh,
do,
thank you.
because your organization skills are just phenomenal.
Thank you.
And your
Thank you.
paintings are phenomenal.
Thank you.
I really want to thank you for being here with me today. I wanted to show you and these things to my audience, because I don't think they're aware that, you know, right here in Las Vegas we have outstanding artists like you.
Oh, thank you.
And why don't you tell people how they can reach you if they'd like to have you do a portrait, or they'd like to have you paint one of their pets, because your pet portraits are great.
Thank you, thank
Yeah.
you. I'm having fun with those pastel pencils.
Oh,
Yes.
good.
I do have a website. It's Wendy Palafox Pena fineart.com. You can also find me on Instagram. You can find me by WEPENA on Instagram, or Facebook by Wendy Palafox Pena Visual Art.
And we'll put it on the screen.
A lot of information.
Yeah, so they can see the spelling of your name.
Thank you. Yes.
Because it's not that hard to spell. It's just the pronunciation of it is a little different than the actual spelling of your name. But it's a beautiful name, and you're
Thank
a beautiful
you.
person.
Thank
and
you for having
I
me.
love having you on the show, and I absolutely love having you in my art class. You've been
Thank
wonderful.
you.
And you only ended up in my art class because the art class that you were going to go in got canceled. And wasn't I lucky?
I was lucky. I show everyone off what a wonderful teacher I have.
Oh, thank you.
Thank
you. And thank you for being here today.
Thank you for having me.
And thank you for being here today. We hope you'll come back again next week and see one of our other outstanding guests.